very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the series of the Great Amrita Alumni Conclave. Well, students are all optimistic about their future. Once the students has achieved his great heights or her great heights, we are proud of him or her to enlighten us about with any knowledge as he could. So, today's topic is all about overcoming the myth, the classification in knowledge. We have the speaker Sudarsana Reddy, who is working in Bosch Global Software Technology as a hardware integrator and associate software engineer. He is an Amrita alumni of 2021 who has pursued electrical and electronic engineering from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. So before getting into the session, if any of the participants have any queries, please type it in the chat box. So Sudarshana, I welcome you to the section. Therefore, we can start the series. Over to you right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So hope the screen is visible.
Not it, not it.
Hope is it visible now? So
It is
yeah,
visible.
yeah. Hello everyone. So I'm Sudarsana Reddy. I did my undergrad in Bachelor's of Technology from Amrita School of Engineering, Bangalore, in electrical and electronics major. So I even had done my exchange program with the help of Amrita Student Abroad programs at NIU Chicago in the final semester. I did image processing project with the foreign professors and students over there, and it was a great opportunity that Amrita actually provides us being in the undergrad itself. And if you are lucky enough and the COVID just gets wave off, then you could probably fly to the other countries and do well research and then come back home and then prosper your knowledge across. And then Bosch, I was working as an hardware integrator at Robert Bosch Engineering Business and Solutions. Right now, it's Bosch Global Software Technologies, and it's an amazing work environment where you can enjoy actually by learning a lot of stuff over there. So I proud to be an Boschler and Amritian, and Amrita actually have a good tie-ups with many of the good reputed colleges over there across the globe, and even it recruits a lot of people to the different the corporate, I would say. And as in the process, I did apply for my masters, and then I got selected for the Ivy League, that is Columbia, and then I even got selected for Carnegie Mellon and University of Florida, Southern California, and then Texas A&M College Station. So right now I chose Texas A&M over all of the selected colleges. So right now I would be an incoming graduate, and I actually thanks each and every faculty and each and every member of the process throughout my undergrad and my Bosch. So this is all because of Amrita, which have provided me all this profile. So let's just discuss about today's topic. And today I just want to run through about the basic knowledge and research that we use a lot in our the BTech, or let's say any undergrad that a student takes. So in general, everyone have some kind of a myth over these two terminologies. Let's say the knowledge. So if someone talks about the knowledge, the most probably the one term that many associate with knowledge is education. So is it only education is the main term, or is it education a synonym of knowledge? I don't know. Let's just run through it, and I hope you would find the answer soon at the end of this session. And even I want to talk about the greatest myths about the research. Okay, so when someone associate research, you would probably think of a scientist, or let's say it's an high-end research which would be only probably possible in the corporate, or let's say the space stations like ISRO or DRDO, which is in India, or NASA somewhere in US. No, it's not. Even we have an academic research which can be started right now at your young age, somewhere at 18 or 19. Probably I started somewhere at 19, and then right now I'm 22. Even I'm doing my research. It is because of Amrita. I would run through the research centers that you would actually, can start your work right from your second year of the, BTech, if I would say, particularly, if not your second year of UG, because the first year you do require a little understanding of the subject and understanding of your degree. So I'll run through these two topics. Probably I'll take 20 minutes for this knowledge and then the next 20 minutes for the research. So I'll try making sure that the myths that you have are probably myths and it is not true, and we'll try to coming up with the good facts. Okay. And most important thing, that one, associate a knowledge with education, as well as there would be a two different classifications that most of the people would try to classify in the knowledge, that is a theoretical and a practical knowledge. I'm sure everyone would have been came through these two terminologies, which are theoretical knowledge and the practical knowledge. And I have many friends who would probably say that, it doesn't require technical knowledge, or I mean to say theoretical or technical knowledge. I just want to have some practicality in the subject, and then I'll just enjoy it. And I know my father is in so and so engineer or so and so work over there in the electrical field, let's say, because I'll just try classifying everything towards this triply, because I being majoring from the subject of electrical and electronics, I'll try taking up examples from that career. So I have my friend over there who actually tries telling me that, yeah, my father used to teach me how to know about the motor working, or let's say how I can repair a fan, all that, when I was in the first year. And I, being a student who doesn't know all those, and I was like, mentality where how can I actually acquire all those practicality through the BTech? Is it possible, or is it, should I be starting very early? Let's say, should I be giving suggestions to my the juniors, or let's say to my sister, to just start looking up the practicality in your the 11th class or 12th class, so that it would help you out in BTech. So this was the basic ideology or mentality that the people would have when you just start your career. I don't want all that to just mess up your minds, or just I don't want all this to be there in your mind, so that it might even stress you a lot, because I was the one who is a the product of all this mess. So I don't want you to be the one actually when you started. So at the end, after 4 years of my graduation, I clearly understood, just by acquiring a theoretical knowledge and practically seeing everything through your eyes and through your the brain, I would say, just visualizing or how the works, and then how you can actually put up everything in your lab, that makes sense. And that is more than enough than actually just having the knowledge of running a motor in your 10th class or 11th doesn't make you an engineer. Okay, there's a lot of difference between two terminologies, which is an engineer and a technician. So technician does actually require all the knowledge which an ITI student would be learning, whereas engineer do require that, but that doesn't mean that he just need that and he doesn't need to know how and why. So let's run through all this the myths and what is the classification of them, or do we really need to integrate both of them, or which is superior if not integration? So let's just go upon this. So yeah, the first slide would be showing you the familiarity. What exactly is familiarity that I'm trying to put up across this slide? So I just want to make sure that definition of knowledge is superficial, or you can actually Google it. You'll find a lot of words that would be getting integrated for the term knowledge definition. But I just want to make sure that this knowledge can be defined as familiarity. Okay, what is familiarity of something? Let's say I know this, I know that, or I know how to do this, I know how to do play this, I know how to cook this, I know how to bake this. That's all. You're just familiarizing everything around you. That is what a knowledge means. So just acquiring something by understanding is knowledge. So the picture that the slide showing us how to manage your knowledge properly. Okay, so I would say there's a lot of things that here you could see that there's an interact, there's a share, there's a discover, contribute, communicate, collaborate, and exchange, which is all that you can do to enhance your knowledge or to manage your knowledge precisely. Okay, so I'll tell you. So this knowledge can be actually interacted with one another. so as to enhance your present knowledge. I just have one something okay, let's say I being a person X and there's a person Y opposite to me who actually majored riding a bicycle, and I know how to play badminton. Okay, so I'll just talk to him and I'll exchange my knowledge to him, and then he would be probably telling me how this riding a bicycle works. So that is how this exchange and interacting with each other would enhance your knowledge. And instead of just majoring a subject, you could actually major or minor many of the things that are around you, around you. That is what the knowledge. And another one, knowledge doesn't only imply education. Okay, I'll try getting up to the point and, and later on. Okay, so even sharing up, so these three terms would actually incline to one and the same meaning, so which is probably share and exchange or interact. So wherein the knowledge, even collaboration is must and most. Okay, when you're trying to put up something new to this world, you have to collaborate with a different major or a minor people. The terms major and minor over here are nothing but the one who is actually majoring a subject or minoring a a branch over there. Okay, so let's say I being an electrical engineering, I might not know how a civil engineer does work. So if I want to construct something in the in collaboration of both triple E and a civil engineering guy, I have to collaborate with the other one and then do build up a project. So this is how the collaboration works, and this is how you would enhance your present day technologies too. And this is must and most important terminology that one have to understand and one have to go ahead. So then comes this contribution, which is the one that you just learn and then you just leave it off. It doesn't make sense. So whatever that you have learned so far, you have to put it in the practicality, or let's say you have to put it to across a people. Let's say you learn something today and then you just keep it in your mind. It doesn't make sense. So you have to share, either share or contribute it, like practicality. I mean to say, you have learned a theorem and you can't put it up, like let's say a practicality might not come to a theorem, but you might actually do some proof to the theorem and you can prove it, or you can actually bring up some other concept to the theory, theorem, that would make sense at the end of the day. So something or the other that you are trying to get from the one that you have learned does mean actually contribute. So and then discover, communicate is again one and the same. You have to discover the things that right now you have across the world, and I'm sure the whole human human doesn't even discover the completeness of our earth. So we are just probably in the middle of 50%. I would say probably we didn't even reach 40% too. So this is how the discovering is happening since ages, and we are the one that will have to discover even more in the coming days. So probably the right side of my slide would pops out all the terminologies that we have to include when a knowledge comes. So right now, from now on, whenever you see the term knowledge, you have to associate with all these terms. So first would be the education. So education is a part of a knowledge, but education is not a knowledge, or knowledge is not an education. So it's not a synonym, it is just a part of the knowledge. So once you learn something, or when you educate yourself, or when you educate others, it is where you are actually talking about knowledge too. Okay, so the second one would be information. Okay, I know most of you would be having this confusion. This education and information are one and the same. Why is that? There are two terminologies, which is education and then information. Okay, I'm just using this acronyms over there, so just don't get confused. So info is nothing but information. So what exactly is an information and education? Education is a critical thinking or a perspective of understanding some topic, but information is nothing to do with the formality or informality. So education is a formal way of information, and information is just an informal way of getting some news or some kind of understanding a topic is information. Okay, so let's say you're going somewhere, and there's a old person passing by, and then if you don't greet, it doesn't need to do with something called as education. It has to be dealt with information that you have to gain from your parents, or from your college, or from your school. I just want to highlight over here that Amrita is a value based education, a school where you would be learning a lot many values through Amrita value program, or cultural education that everyone would have in the 4 semesters of their undergrad. So probably you would be learning the values, which is nothing but gaining an information, and probably doing the education from your faculties or the lecturers is that you would be joining. So this is where both would be integrating to know as in wonderful education that Amrita do provide. And what is an EXPR? That's an experience that I'm trying to talk about. So even experience does come into knowledge. Okay, when you experience something, you would remember forever. This is what many people would be knowing by now. So when you experience, let's say when you are actually during your let's say the sixth class or fifth class, when you ride a bicycle, you experienced it. Okay, let's say you have fell, and then that is where you understand, that is where the experience that you would take, and from next ride you would understand how to apply brakes and how to ride the how to pedal your bicycle. All this would come through your experience. So probably these three again be known as a knowledge. And the fourth one would be a solution analysis. So it's not an integral part of a knowledge, but it do actually states that understanding a problem or analyzing something and getting up a solution does does actually makes knowledge. So just acquiring knowledge through the education, information, and experience doesn't give you anything. Okay, getting an solution for the analysis that you would try to do actually provides you the essence of a knowledge. Okay, so I would say the last one would be learning. So learning is nothing to do with any of these things. Okay, so learning is again right now the five terms would contradict with each other. I would say complement, not contradict. Okay, everything was complement to one other thing. And learning is again to do with an experience and to do with the solution analysis, because when you do give a solution for the analysis that you're trying to do, of course you are learning something. And when you are actually experiencing something, you're actually learning a lot. And then when you're gathering the information or learning and let's say gaining up something through education, yes, it's a learning over there. So I would say all these five terminologies do actually make knowledge. So let's just keep this aside of this definition of knowledge, which is something about familiarity, or the components of a knowledge, which are these that are education, information, experience, and solution, along with analysis. Towards the learning point, we'll come up with the classification. So I know I have already told that there are two basic classifications that a knowledge does have. So one is theory, one is practice. So why is that I'm actually highlighting this theory and practice in black and white? So you would understand that it's kind of the contradictory that most of the people have. Let's say I know theory, I doesn't need practice. Let's say I know practicality, I doesn't need to have theory. So it's one and the same, where you would be like, okay, I know how to drive a car, so I don't need to know what exactly the mechanism in the car is going on. Let's say you know how to ride a bicycle or a bike, I don't need to know how the clutch works or how the petrol was going to pump to your vehicle. All that I don't want to know. So it is like, yeah, it's fine, it works in the real life, I know, but it might not be the solution when you go to the corporate. Okay, when you say that I know how to run a motor and I don't know how the system works, I don't know that they doesn't even provide you a job at the first stage. So you have to know why is it the motor has to run with an electricity. This is a basic thing that you have to know. And then you go ahead on learning how to run a motor. Then it makes sense. Just knowing a one side doesn't make you an impressive engineer or impressive student as such. So both are required for anything that you are trying to understand or trying to progress yourself. So black and white actually makes a couple or a duo in many of the reality picturizations. So I took up these two, that one, if one is a white, another one would be black, and you have to combine those two to make a black and white. So this is what I try to make sure that the classification comes to you. And yeah, there's something that Wolfgang had mentioned as in quote. So I'll just read through it. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. And willing is not enough, we must do. So just getting up something and not applying it or not doing it doesn't make sense. Okay, so again, whatever I have tried to put up through an example, that knowing something and not understanding how it works doesn't make sense. So you have to know, and you have to know how to apply, or how is it working, then it makes sense. Yes, got that right? I hope so. You just got some glimpse of all this classification and what are the components that an education does require, or I mean to say the knowledge does require. Okay, so I'll just come to the next slide. So yeah, probably you would have seen something, known that versus known how. So what is that known that and known how? So I'll just give you some phrases. Okay, I know that dog is barking. I know that cooking is easy. I know that playing football does require some, let's say, legs. Okay, I'll just be improper over here. Okay, I know how to play football. I know how to cook. I know how a dog bark. Let's say through the mouth. I know it doesn't make sense, but I know how the process starts. So this is where the difference between knowing that and knowing how actually go one and the same. Okay, let's say you know that, it doesn't mean that you know how to do it. Let's say I know that cooking is easy, but you don't know how to cook. You know the process. Okay, you know the process, that you know that, but you don't know how to do, which is a practice. So it's one and the same. Again, back to your terminologies, which is theory versus practice. Okay, I'll just take up one simple example, which is cooking, or why cooking will come up through this slide, and then at the end we would understand, is just theory required, or is just practice required, or which is a superior that we have to understand, or is it both required together? Again, so knowing that is nothing but a theory, and knowing how is nothing but a practice. So, or a practicality is known as knowing how, and theory is nothing but knowing that. So Einstein would have known something, so you would have given up the theory, but that doesn't mean that whatever he had given doesn't have any sense. It has sense. There's another people, let's say there's another scientist who would have actually analyzed what he have done, and then would have proven that yes, hence prove. So this is where theory and practical comes one into the, I mean, one into one, let's, or it gives an hand on hand. So I just try to give you the glimpse that understanding something and doing it does actually require kind of analysis between theory and practice. So let's just run through this slide, and then you will understand how that classification is being done. So when I say that theory, so you have to probably get this question in your mind, that whenever I deal with theory, you have to question yourself with why is it? Okay, so the basic principle of a motor would come by just questioning yourself with why. But when I say the practice, I just don't need why, I just need how. I need to know how to run a motor. Just plug in and then run on. That's all. So it is where you will understand that there's a big questions that one have to question themselves when they are trying to learn something theory, or when they are trying to learn something practical. Okay, so I have a subject, let's say electric machines. Okay, so I have this machine subject where if I say I'm just learning theory, I just don't need the question how. I just need why, because that is where I'm understanding that how a machine works. See, if I go to an ITI student and say just how is this principle, I mean, how this motor works, would he or she be in a state to explain the theory behind the machine? No, they might not. You being an engineer need to know why is that machine working. Okay, and you might even have a question, is it that necessary to have this understanding of a machine require in your coming days? Yes, it do, because they might pose many questions in interviews, or when you are trying to run up something. Let's say in the future, you had been given a machine to you, and then it was asked you to analyze it and then run on it. So you don't know how that system works. Okay, so you, I mean to say, how matlab why. Okay, you don't know why the motor, or I would say what is the principle behind a machine. And if you are asked to analyze it, and you just know the practicality of the motor, then I don't know, you would just probably switch on it, or plug it on, and then you will run, and I don't know, something had happened and the motor has been burned off. And then what will you be doing over there? I don't know, you have to pay for yourself, and then you have to explain yourself that you don't know all this understanding, so I just had plugged it in and then went through it. But if you know, how that system analyzes. I mean, if you know how to analyze a system, you would have done that, and you know where the fault is. You would try remove it through your practical knowledge again, and then you will run on it. So this is where the integrity of theory and practical comes in picture. Okay, just don't blindly say I just need something known as practice or a practicality. I would try to ignore the theory. Okay, and again, most of our Indians have this mentality of just learning the theory and not understand the practicality. I don't know. This is much more common in. I just don't want to generalize statements, but yeah, most commonly we as in Indians do have that enthusiasm to just pass the exams or to just get the marks and then close it off. Where that comes only understanding theory, and again in theory, most of that would be a by having. So I don't, just mugging up something doesn't make sense, right? So when you try understanding through your way of learning practicality into the theory, that is where you will remember everything for yourself, and that is where your progress would be much more easier than any other student who just focuses on one thing. Okay, so the second question probably, or the second term that you would need to get when you say theory, is strategy. So theory does provide you a strategy. So what exactly is the strategy that theory does provide? So let's say your mom is teaching you how to ride a bicycle. So she would say probably how the brake works and how everything actually does. Yeah, just simple how a bicycle works. Your mom have taught you, so she's trying to give you the strategy to you, or you are just learning the strategy from the theory that your mom have taught. But what is a practice is doing with the other term over there? It is situation. So you have to ride the bicycle. So just understanding the strategy doesn't make you a master in that subject, or doesn't make you a master in doing something. So you have to put yourself into the situation, do run it, and then you'll understand. So your mom have taught you how the bicycle works, and then you have pedaled it, and then you didn't. Your mom have told that when when the bicycle goes at a higher speed, and when you have to stop, you have to apply the brake. And you don't know that you have to press it for a longer time, or you have to press it and leave it off. You don't know the situation, and then you did whatever you want to do, and then you have uh, been in trouble. That is where your experience comes, and that is where you will understand. So just getting up strategy doesn't make anything. So you have to get the situation also. I mean, you have to put yourself into the situation and then understand. So this is again integrating both. So just being in a situation doesn't make you anything. Just knowing a strategy doesn't make you anything. So you have to integrate again both strategy and situation. That is how you have integrated why and how questions together. So the last terminology, or the last thing that you have to understand between theory and practice is formality and informal. Okay, so this I just had given you some information, right? Like that an ITI student might not know how a system works, so he's just getting an informal knowledge. But whereas you as an engineer, whereas you as an undergrad student, you will learn formality of the things. Okay, so I would say yeah, of course most of the corporate do value formality or formal knowledge, which might ignore informal during the interviews. But when you go to the situation, I would say you have to be even gaining up some informal knowledge, which might help you out a lot. So I would say integrating both formal knowledge and informal knowledge would give you one better learning curve. So what is that learning curve that I'm trying to talk about? So right now you are in the 12th grade. So and you might be learning physics, chemistry, and math. So your curve might be a linear right now, and then right now you would be halted at some position, and you are not sure like which is that you're trying to go upon. And let's say you have decided for yourself that you have to pursue some btech in computer science. Okay, so right now you again start your curve. So might be it might go straight away, or it might be a linear curve again, or it might be a constant, or it might be an even quadratic over there. So what exactly is the quadratic that I'm trying to speak you? So I'm just grasping it in a very sharper way, that I'm trying to expand my limitations, and then understanding every subject over there across the btech, and then grasping up most of the majors, and then going upon, and then going to an office. You might be given a project, and then you have to prove yourself that you're better at this. So and then get many projects for yourself, so that you would understand, and you would earn for yourself, and you would make yourself proud for yourself when you actually acquire many projects for yourself, right? This is where the learning curve has to be exponentially increasing, not exponentially decreasing, or not just being at constant. So okay, even if decreases exponentially, it doesn't, I don't know, once if a person would have acquired knowledge, it doesn't generally get decreased, or it won't get a decline curve. Most probably it would be a saturation, or it would be a constant constants that a person would gain. So if you don't want that formality and informality, I mean, let's say when you don't want all that to happen, you have to integrate all of these three things, or these three characters that I'm trying to put up over here, so that your learning curve would go very fast and very linearity. It doesn't mean to go every time fast enough like an exponential. It might be even linear. Yes, it might do good for you. Okay, so sometimes you're even having trouble to understand a topic, then always that doesn't mean that you have to go exponentially fast, and you try yourself a lot and then it is not happening. It is not your mistake. Even if you have maintained it linear, it's more than enough. So yeah, there's some picture that is just popping out over here, and you could see something. It's Big Bang Theory. Yeah, it's Big Bang Theory. And there's another picture that is just cooking. So what is that one would understand? Okay, by just giving up these two pictures over there, is there something that you're trying to get in your mind? Yes. So the one that Big Bang Theory is just like towards the theory, and then the cooking is towards the practice. So I just want to be clear over here to the people that has a myth. Okay, I'll try clear your myths, whatever you have according to the classification of knowledge. Let's say a student A does only believe that theory is superior, and he doesn't want anything in his or in his or her understanding. So he just want to read, understand how the process works, and just want to stop. So he thinks that only theory is superior, and I don't want anything else to gain up, so that I don't want to go with the practice. I just be with the theory. And there's another person, a student Y, who actually probably thinks that only practice is important, and theory doesn't actually give a damn to him or her, and he or she doesn't want to actually even learn theory. They just want to go with the practice. So let's say the person Y who believes in practice, I might not sure, he might not end up when he try to get something from Big Bang Theory or whatever it is. Let's say you want to analyze something in space. So would you just get the practice and then understand the the Milky Way galaxy, or whatever that terms that you would associate with the space? So theory is the only one where you could understand the space. Okay, so you will try getting up the equations, you will try understanding, you will give the complete analysis for your space study, and then you would come to the conclusion. Nevertheless, you can't directly fly to the universe, or somewhere to the galaxy, and see that and then come back, because that is what the practice implies. So you have to be in the situation, see it, understand, and then come back, and then draw the conclusion. That is where the practice means, or practice student does actually have the quality of just understanding or drafting a conclusion from the situation. But getting up a strategy and drafting a conclusion from the strategy is only a theory student do. So for a student Y who only believes that practice is superior, might not get everything in practice. Okay, you have to believe that there's only few things that theory does. Okay, and for a student who believes that theory alone is a superior thing, and who might believe that practice is nothing to do with theory or nothing to do with this world, have to awake right now. So the theory student will understand that cooking is not something, or which you would only deal with theory. Let's say your mom have taught that you have to add something, like she just have given you theory, and you don't know how to lit up your gas stove or whatever it is, and now you don't know how to toss a pan, or you don't know how to add something to your food. And salt, okay, let's say some x amount of you can't measure salt every time whenever you're doing something. So it comes through the practice. So it is where the practicality comes. So for a student X who believes that only theory is a superior thing, nothing else, and then maybe he or she might not end up doing all those things which only practice does help. So this is where you people have to understand that there are few things which only theory do, and there are few things that only practice do. But most of the things are done only by integrating both of them, which is the theory and practice. So nothing is superior over here. So I tried clearing that myth that one is superior and other is not, is nothing to do with the theory or practice. Okay, theory and practice are both equal. And there's another myth that one has to acquire one, another has to neglect the other one. No, it has to do that you have to integrate both to succeed your to get succeeded in your career or to progress yourself in the career. Okay, so there's something that I have given in the right corner of your slide, that theory teaches you through the experience of others. On the other hand, in practice, you tend to learn with your own experience with a particular task. So right now you want to do something. Let's say you try to innovate something. Will you just start your things right now without understanding or without doing a proper browsing about what are the things that that are there that are associated to the one that you're trying to do? Let's say I want to do something, research in flights. Okay, I'll just be vague over here, and I just want to know how this flight works and everything. So would I just start digging up to the mechanic parts and then try building up a flight? No, I won't do that mistake, because there are many people who would have done that and who would have drafted it over years and years. Okay, so I'll try getting it. That is where I would start with theory, and then I would learn it, or I would build it up through my own understanding of practice. So these would come hand on hand. Okay, so throughout two slides I tried putting up that integration is important. So let's just go to the other one, third slide. Yeah, so the third slide states that confidence without ability. So what is it trying to say, or what is it trying to infer you people? So there's nothing that doing something without confidence does actually progress a lot, or having just confidence and don't know how to do it, or you're not able to do something, doesn't make sense. So again, this ability is dependent on confidence, and confidence is dependent on ability. So these two actually have to come one on one. So there's a picture in the middle of the slide which says that there's a cut through between an orange or a lemon. So it says that when you try combining these two, or let's say a coin has two sides or a two face, right? So that is how your theory and practice also can be compared with. Okay, so when the upper part is a theory and the lower part is a practice, when you combine both together, then only it would form a fruit, or then only a coin would be making a sense. So if you just have a tail, it doesn't make sense. You have to have head and tail to make it a coin, or that is how a two-faced coin does work. Or this is how a fruit would be combined when you combine both of the parts up and down. So this is how a theory and practice would be combined. And but then I have highlighted something like intellectualism and anti-intellectualism. So what exactly is that to do with this fruit, or to do with this theory and practice picture? So when I have told that theory and practice are two sides of a coin, or a complete fruit, so that is where the intellectualism comes to the picture. So intellectualism is nothing but the dependency of both of the words theory and practice. Okay, so when you have the dependency of both of them, that is much more enough. Okay, so that you are actually trying to make a one and the other one to be dependent on one another, so that a productive thing would happen. Okay, so intellectualism is nothing but gaining up something by making it depending, I mean making up interconnection. Okay, or connecting each other. uh, let's say theory, whatever that you have understood or grasped from your class, putting up into the practice or to the situation that you're trying to put, is where the intellectualism term comes to you. So mostly everyone have to be understanding that knowledge is an intellectualism thing, not an anti-intellectualism. Okay, whereas an anti-intellectualism is something to do with the myth of not integrating the things. So as I was explaining in the previous slide, that Big Bang theory is nothing to do with the practice, or the cooking is nothing to do with the theory. So that is where the anti-intellectualism comes over there. But most of the time, that intellectualism knowledge is important, and this is where one have to understand, one have to remove all the myths that they have and overcome to that. Just have this in your mind: confidence without ability is just a disaster. Okay, I would say again, conference without ability is just a disaster. So you have to interconnect and complement each other so that you would progress yourself in the coming days. So integrate or interconnect or complement both of them together so that you would progress in your life. Okay, so this is where I would end up this topic knowledge, and then I'll come to the term research, which I want to go ahead. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, or I'll finish up this topic at the end. You might actually come up to the Q&A. Okay, so if I actually come to the slides that I'm trying to say over here, conference without ability, you understood that integration is important. So now what is that research is to do with the knowledge that you have acquired? So most probably, many might not actually like the term research because it looks a little complicated when you think of it. Okay, so flying up a rocket does require research, or doing something to do with this road you are doing some research. Okay, so just overcome all the myths. Research is something where you innovate some small things. That's all. It is where you will invest some time to acquire some research skills and then progress yourself with drafting an article or drafting something that you have done so far, is what an academic research is to do with. Okay, so today let's just focus on academic research and how Amrita actually does help you out in doing up the research. So I'll take up my own example that how I have progressed myself towards this with the help of the research centers that we have over here in Amrita. So I am a researcher. I'm proud to say I'm a researcher too. So probably I would listen the same word from everyone whoever attending this webinar, because most probably you will end up being a researcher just by keeping a goal setting. Mhm. And then, yeah, I'll come with this classification once I just deal with this term researcher. Okay, so what is this picture trying to show up? There's a lot of information on the table, and she's trying to integrate everything and then getting up to a solution, right? So I would say it is what everyone have to do when they are trying to you know then when they're trying to become a researcher. They have to analyze, they have to put up everything together and then put up that into a practice and then make it productive or make it innovative. This is where the researcher sets his or her goals and then start upon the research. So there are some of the required skills that one have to gain while they are doing a research. Might not be the case with everyone. Some might even just go bluntly and then start research, and then they might prosper in their respective fields. But what I try to tell you is that when you actually try putting up all the skills that I'll show you in the slide, will make you much more efficient when you are not having up these skills and then bluntly going with the research. And okay, so as I was trying to tell you, that research is nothing to do with the only space science or something with the hi-fi things. Okay, even when you do something very little or very innovative, that actually is also a research. And you have to be proud to be a researcher, because you're not a normal kid that who are just sitting in a class doing up the being up with the grades and getting up, I don't know, getting up a nice corporate job. Nothing. When you do something small, and when you actually be inclined, when you have the interest over research, and when you incline yourself towards the research, that is a much big difference. And you have to be proud for yourself, even though when you don't end up getting up a good grades, because you did something great and the other person didn't do it. So just be proud for yourself if you are a researcher. So I'll make sure that everyone who over here actually becomes a good researcher by just putting up a little interest towards it. And I know it would be a very tough task, and I'll tell you how to manage yourself while you're trying to study your UG. First, we'll just discuss with the most of the goal setting and all the qualities or all the skills that one have to acquire when they try doing research. So the number one or the most important skill that one have to deal with is goal setting. And then next would be a data collection, analysis, browse, interview, draft, critical thinking, and plan and schedule. So I'll start with first thing, which is a goal setting. So what is that goal setting is to do with the research? So it is very simple. The term goal setting would define yourself that you have to set up one goal and then proceed yourself. The first and the foremost important when you try doing your research is to set a goal. understand your goal. That is where you can start. Probably, let's say right now I am in my 12th, and then I don't know what to do. So you are not setting up the goal, but you want to just enter the research field. You can bluntly enter, and then you can see up many people who are doing, and then you can copycat them and then start doing it. It doesn't harm anything. Okay, it is also a good thing. But when you set your goal and then go ahead with the research, this is where an efficient things are coming, gonna happen. Okay, so you understood, right? Probably what I'm trying to say. So you have to set up a goal so that it would become an efficient one. So if I want to work as an computer vision engineer, then I have to probably set my goal that I have to do something in the digital image processing systems, that somewhere I'm gonna increase my efficiency, or by just integrating some algorithms that I'll do something up with the dip. So I am trying to set up a goal so that I would you know niche my things, and then I'll make sure that the narrowness is towards this domain, and then go ahead. If I'm not setting up a goal, yes, there's a wide space that is available and I don't know where to jump, so it would be a little difficult. When I have set the goal, and when you come to the data collection, this is the next step that everyone have to do. So what exactly is this data collection is doing with? Okay, so right now everything and everywhere you would see this two terms, okay, AI or ML. Yeah, but again DL, nothing but deep learning again comes over there. Machine learning and artificial intelligence is much of the things that everywhere and everyone are trying to do. So even you are a mechanical engineer, even you are a civil engineer, even you are an electrical engineer, nothing is to do with an AI or ML, because everyone have to understand the topics and have to integrate them. So over there, I'm just giving an example where your data is required. Okay, so when you try to put up this algorithms in reality, you have to have much of a data with you. So how? So this data is nothing only the data that I'm trying to integrate with an AI or ML, but something you can deal that data with. Probably I would say this way. So I want to do a research in electrical vehicle battery stations. Okay, so what I will do, I will try going up to each and every home, and I'll try analyzing, I'll try getting up the data from every home, that how many vehicles are there in a locality, so that where I can place my battery station. So what exactly is this data is doing with? So you are trying to get up the data so that your work of research would become much more understanding or much more efficient. Okay, so just giving up some random data to your research doesn't gonna benefit anyone, right? So when you go with a collecting of a data practically from the one that you are living around, then doing up the research with the goal that you have set, that would suffice a lot. And then what is this analysis? As we are discussing since starting of our slide, analysis is something where you would put up your theory knowledge and get to a solution. So analysis and solution does come with one-on-one. So getting up the solution is the next and most important. Before coming up to this analysis, you have to interview and browse a lot of stuff. So what is this interview and browse to do with? So when you're collecting up a data, you would interview someone, or you would interview a faculty. Let's say you're doing something in the domain of machine learning, and then you want some data from electrical vehicles. So what you will do, you'll go to a CS professor, and then you'll consult him or her, and then you will understand the data from ML. In the same way, you'll go to the department of Triple E, and then you'll understand the same electrical vehicle. You'll try interview the professor with the questions. So this is a must and most important thing that a researcher have to have with them. Okay, so they have to have the ability of interviewing. Okay, you have to have some set of questions in your mind, which you would probably clear or clarify them with the intellectuals in the field of respective fields. Okay, so interview and browse. What is this browse to do with? Again, browse is nothing but getting up all the data from the internet, not physically, from virtually, from the people that in the previous example, when I'm trying to say that you want to do something with the space science, you just don't start with your own things. Okay, like when you want to do something with a flight, you just don't bring up everything and then you'll start building up the product. You'll take up the analysis, or you'll browse the internet, and you'll understand this you know understand things that people have done so far, and then you will don't do those mistakes because you would have already browsed it and you would have already analyzed it. Okay, so this is where analysis, browse, and interview comes together. And what is this draft? See, when you don't draft things that you are trying learning up, yeah, you might mess up sometime. See, you would learn some 100 things today, and then you might remember only 10-20 things tomorrow. So what about the remaining 80? Will you start again tomorrow? No, you have to draft it. So you have to understand, and then you have to draft. Drafting is the most important thing a researcher has to have. Okay, so mostly I know I have seen many of my friends who doesn't have the interest over there in drafting something, so they just leave being into the field of research. Okay, I won't encourage anyone, just leaving up the interest of research over this one term draft. Okay, it is just, you just type yourself whenever you're doing something. I would say that would suffice your stress of not taking up the word draft. Okay, and then the next two things would go with one and the same meaning: critical thinking and plan schedule. Because plan schedule is nothing but you have to give up yourself that today I'll work for this hour and tomorrow I'll do this way. And this is where the time management might also come to the picture. But critical thinking is again doing with the time management, right? So you're not wasting up time just by blamely sitting and not critically thinking yourself, right? So then that is where the time management, which is this must most importantly when a researcher talks, or not only a researcher. Okay, there's another one which is objective and time management. These two are the one of the main important skills that one have to acquire, whatever the things that they are trying to do. It has nothing to do with the research, but these two terms are very much interrelative and very much important when you're trying to do a work. Let's say you're watching a show on a Netflix, so you have to manage yourself that, I want to finish up the season so far by today. So you're managing yourself, your objective is to finish the series by end of the day. So how you can do it? By just not simply wasting your time by cooking. Instead you can order something so that you won't waste time cooking. So you have to have these objective and then time management skills in very interrelative, so that you would achieve your goal very efficiently, whatever that things that you're trying to do. So in the same way, for a researcher, the objective and the time management is also too much important. Okay, these two are the two corners of anything that you are trying to do. As just I have explained you with an example of a Netflix of watching a series, your main goal is to finish it off by today, so do accordingly. Time manage yourself with the time that you are trying to watch your series. Okay, so got my point how you can efficiently do research. So then the next slide shows that researcher Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham. So before going to this, I'll tell you this how you can actually manage yourself while studying. Okay, this is another important objective of my talk, right? So my webinar. So what exactly is that I'm trying to say? Okay, when you are an UG student and you would have freshly joined the university and you don't know what you want to do, so what you will try to do with the research. So in the first year or the first sem, you just focus on the subjects that you have. Probably you would be having the basic subjects and the important subjects. I would say, I mean to say the important, which is to deal with every branch that you are being put up. Let's say if I'm a BTech student, then probably in the first time I would be having a basic electrical engineering, even though you are a computer science engineer or a mechanical engineer, because that is to deal with every branch that you are your engineering is to do, because you would acquire every knowledge in the first sem, and the second sem you will try narrowing yourself to which domain you have to work. In the third sem, probably you will understand that this is my interest and this is how I have to go ahead. So you don't know what exactly the present research happening in the field of interest that you have. But yeah, every university mostly would offer this online websites where you can download through the campus Wi-Fi. So our Amrita has a largest network where you can download everything from available resources. Probably I would say an example of Scopus, IEEE, Springer, elsewhere. You name one, you will have your account, because Amrita have everything available over there, the campus Wi-Fi. Download every possible article from the internet. See that for yourself in the third sem. Then in the fourth sem, by the end of your third sem, you would be choosing one important problem that you want to get a solution for in the interest area of your field. Then you would start getting up an analysis and solution in the fourth sem. Probably by fifth sem you will draft an article and you would submit to the conferences or a journal or a book chapters that you would try you want to just analyze. And that's all. You would have done one research article by the end of the fifth sem. And once you would have done your article, then that is where your body would be thinking, or I mean, your mind and the body would come one on one, and then it would make sure that you are trying to spend a lot of time on research from fifth sem of the mid, and then by end of your eighth semester, I might not sure how many articles would be provided by you, because once your research interest procures through you, that is where you will start doing up a lot many research articles, or I would say a lot many research. See, it has nothing to do with the research article. I again want to make sure that patents, research articles, there's a lot of things that one have to understand when a term research is popping out. Okay, research is not nothing only to do deal with a research article. It can be compared with a patent or a research article or something innovative. So always it is not important that you have to produce an article. Maybe if you have done something like a patent, when you have done something good and innovative, producing a product, do apply for Indian hackathon, or you can apply for some hackathons, or you can showcase yourself that I have done this, I have done that under so much professor, or I mean so much of work I have put up under this professor, so much of work that I have done in this lab. Just put up yourself on your resume and go ahead. So research does help a lot in securing a job. So I am a byproduct of it. I'm explaining you. So it is where you have to understand. I'm the one who have experienced it. Okay, see, when I say I got into the universities of Ivy Leagues and everything, I want to just highlight it. It is only possible that I have much of my research packed in my resume. Okay, I have a lot many research articles that I have done in BTech, where I could showcase myself that yes, I did this, I know this, I know how this works, I know why is this working in this way, because research is an again integration of both theory and practice together. So this is why I have tried putting up the knowledge as in the important topic. When you know the basic, getting up the toughest topic is not too much tough. Okay, maybe that might showcase that the term is tough, but when you know the basic, tough is not a tough. Okay, so research might be the complicated term over here, but knowledge being a basic, when you know the basic, when you understand the basics very clearly, that theory and practice is not something different, then of course the research is simple. It is just a hands-on thing that you can do or go upon. It's a cakewalk for you. So hope my session had been very helpful for you by understanding the research and the knowledge, understanding, and how you can actually process yourself, or prosper yourself over 4 years and produce many articles. So I'll just show you some numbers that Amrita have done so far. So these are the figures that you would see. There's lot many, maybe this might be my old stats, but there might be many things. Okay, over here I only have produced around 20 plus articles and one of the patent. So you just imagine there are many like me who are there in Amrita. I'm from Bengaluru campus. There are many from Coimbatore. There are many from Amritapuri, Kochi, Mysore campus. Of course, there's an Amaravati campus which is opening in the near future. So I would say I'm not the only one. There are many like me. So just get this figures for yourself. Okay. So I have done like around 5 of my journals and transactions, and then similarly I did around 12 or 12, yeah, probably 12 conferences and 3 to 4 book chapters so far in my BTech, which is of 4 years. Out of that, if I could remove 2 years, I did this much of contribution. Of course, you could do more, you could do even great in your coming days. How? It's just a cakewalk for you. You have to join a good institute like Amrita and then understand how this works, the system works, I would say. Probably go ahead. That's all. It is simple for you. And then I'll try just giving you up some research centers. Of course, you would get all this from amrita.edu website. It has nothing to do with that through my slide, but these are the one which I would try to highlight for you. So there are living labs and heart labs, which probably one have to if one have to acquire the social knowledge, where you are trying to put up yourself whatever you have learned. So I would say these are the only labs that Amrita would provide. Okay, there's a one friend who have been right now in John Hopkins University. So I graduated in August 2021. She is also, and she is right now in JHU, John Hopkins. She just have given her LOR by just participating in living labs. I understand getting up like an Ivy League like Columbia, or getting like my friend who is in JHU, It all is to do with Amrita. Okay, I'm so proud to be an Amritian. So I would say probably you all can be proudly say in the coming 4 or 5 years, whatever the UG program that you would choose, and you would give the same things to your coming juniors, or you would be a proud alumni of your Amrita. So these are the labs that one can actually explore and sort of very much useful right now in this ML or AI dominating world. So Amrita is progressing in the same towards the same way, and there's a separate branch for specializing AI and ML in your BTech, which was not there back then when we used to do our BTech. So it's probably everything is moving forward. Even universities are moving forward, such as Amrita is also moving forward a lot. And as you would have heard, it is ranking 5th by NIRF2. So probably this is what I just want to highlight throughout my session. Thank you so much, and best wishes for future. And you can contact me via my Google Scholar, or through my LinkedIn profile you can message me, or there's an Scopus that you would yes, of course, Scopus is where you would have seen in the previous slide. Scopus is an kind of an index that research articles do have, which is a very highest index that one would get in the conference publication or wherever you go. So Amrita only do allow you publish in Scopus, which would never allow to any other index. So it's one again, I would want to say that Amrita is doing a very clear research, which is not just publishing in a normal index. Okay, so this is where you will get to know more when you talk to the seniors, or when you attend such webinars where alumni will tell you their experience. Okay, so I did a lot many things in my BTech. It is just because of Amrita. I am so happy to be an Amritan, and you can contact me whenever you want. And then thank you. So if you have any Q&A, go ahead. I'll try answer it.
Sudarsana, that was a well-prepared speech.
Thank you so
The
much.
flow of the language was very nice, excellent, absolutely fantastic. So, but so far from our participant side, there is no thoughtful questions from their side, maybe. But Sudarsana, best of luck for your future. All the
Thank you so much.
best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Let's call it a day. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.